So my name is Emily Wold, and I run my creative business. It's called Fablehound. And all of my background is in mostly classical acting. So I've done a lot of Shakespeare, done a lot of plays, and that was kind of what I thought I was going to do. And I had really signed on to the idea that when you choose that career, when you choose to follow your passions, you just kind of understand that you're probably not going to make a lot of money. You're probably always going to struggle. Probably no house, is in the cards for you. No debt payoff. Like it's going to be tough. It's going to be slim. And then I found voiceover work. And so I had heard like in grad school when I was finishing that up, had like one professor one time who was like, this is maybe something that actors can do. And so I really bootstrapped my way into the field and kind of very much started with what I had, which was next to no knowledge and absolutely no equipment or know-how. And I just kept knocking on doors until somebody cracked one open a little bit for me. And it was one of those things that started as a side hustle. And I was like, well, this will be, part of what I do as an actor. But after a while, it just took off and, necessitated me starting my own company and really putting a lot of my focus on this. And, I went kind of from asking like, what can I sell to make rent this month in a tiny apartment in Chicago to, clearing six figures in my business really consistently and, having the money to own a home and to do things for the people that I love and give in places where there's need and just live life with a lot of freedom. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the main goal.
yeah, totally.
In a way, you kind of fell into that.
Yeah.
At what point, or maybe was there a video or a piece of work that you've done where you were like, okay, this voice acting thing is something that I'm probably good at, or I could, further pursue? Like, what was the kind of the moment that made you realize I'm good at this?
Yeah. I guess there's a couple moments I could mention here. The first one was very early on in my voiceover career. I just did a random spot for like a college somewhere in like the southern US region. And it took me an hour. I went in and I did the job at a studio because that was kind of how things were done back then. And so went in, recorded with an engineer. And then a few weeks later, that company called me and they were like, hey, your check came in, so come pick it up. And I went in and, less than an hour's work and the check was like $900. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it because that was what I would maybe make in several weeks working
Right.
full time on a gig. So that was where I was like, oh, maybe this can really
Something
work.
to that.
Yeah. And like maybe I started to be able to see myself in that work and to be able to see myself like pulling in that kind of income with my voice and with the skills that I already had, which up to that point, they had not been able to produce that kind of ROI,
Right.
So there was that one. And then pretty early on in my career, I established a really great working relationship with an agent in Chicago. And I booked a big campaign for Whataburger. And it was my first huge campaign. And it was just this incredible opportunity where I worked with a production house for several weeks, big campaign, recorded a lot of spots for them. And, the net on that was like the down payment for my house. And I was just like, I just had no idea that work existed.
My mind.
I know. Everybody should try voiceover, that's for sure. But I just had no idea that was possible. Nobody had ever told me, even though, I have a terminal degree in my field. Like I have an MFA in acting. And, like the most that anybody ever said was like, well, it's a business. And like, that was it. That was our business training in grad school. And I was like, that's just not really that helpful. So to kind of learn that I had the capacity to bring in those numbers and to earn with my skills that kind of money, I mean, I was shocked and so excited. Yeah. It's shocking. And it's just this kind of like little pocket of work that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's like we watch commercials every day and like somebody's making you want to buy that hamburger or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You were able to make a down payment off of one job.
Yeah.
Group of jobs.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
That kind of makes, like I said, it makes me second guess what I'm doing. I
Talk. It is. It's one of those things that it's like the potential ROI on it is incredible. Now, like, I don't want to miscommunicate that, like, there's a lot of hard work. Like, of course, like anything, it's for me, it's a lot of passion, but it's also like, yeah, it's all my training and it's, you know, all the hours that I've put into it. But again, like, I don't know. I've never experienced anything else in my life that's had this much ROI.
Yeah.
And that can get done so quickly. Because most studios are booking you for an hour. Maybe it's longer, but you can get a lot of money from.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's very similar to like going and recording drums. I'm sure you do however many takes
Yeah.
necessary, or
Right.
you hopefully are doing just a few.
Yeah. Right.
So with that, like from my knowledge with
Mhm.
acting and stuff, I know a lot of times there is like voice training if you're doing stage plays and stuff
Yeah.
like that, being able to have your voice carry
Mhm.
and enunciate your words,
Yeah.
things like that. Was there like a learning curve in any of that for you going from like an acting
Yes.
skill to a talking skill like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and there absolutely was. I always get tickled when I listen back to, like, my old stuff now because it's very, like it's very projected, and
Yeah.
it's, like, really on tone, and, you can tell that I had been shouting Shakespeare to the back of the house for however many years, and so there was absolutely, pretty steep learning curve, but that's one of the good things about being an actor is it's a pretty personal kind of career, like you get pretty used to taking criticism and you take criticism on your person. It's like there's really nothing off limits, especially in like high level training for, when you're becoming an actor and like, because it's all about, your lens and like how you express a character or, how are you going to take a Shakespearean text that somebody has done, since however long, and all these famous actors have touched and like what's going to make your version of it special. It's all about your own personal lens. So that being said, there's a lot of that kind of infused in the training to become an actor. And so if you can get through that training and survive without damage to your psyche, you're pretty bulletproof. Like you know how to take criticism, you know how to take a note. And so early days in voiceover, there was a lot of taking notes and there was a lot of just kind of reading the room, which I think is a very underrated soft skill.
Agreed.
Yeah. So just like being able to listen to people in the room and kind of adjust to what they're saying, but also what they're not saying. And
Right.
being able to serve truly and anticipate their needs, like, it became clear to me really early that that was important. And so, yeah, there was a lot of adaptation and it always makes me laugh when I go back and listen to old stuff because now I work, really close to the mic and I like work kind of low and, don't usually project a lot because I'm in a tiny booth.
Right.
But
Right.
early days, it was a different story for sure.
So you feel like you learned a lot more from studying other people or just like kind of examining your own work and yourself and then just trying to find those little pieces of improvement?
Definitely the latter. I wasn't somebody who like knew a lot about voiceover actors or voiceover acting. I still have people be like, "Oh, I love voiceover. Do you know this person?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." My methodology has been very much based on reps. It's like, you just do it. The best way to do it is to do it.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, so it's just like, how many reps can I get in today? How many reps can I get in this month, this year? And the more that you do, the better that you will be. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I always compare it to working out because it's like it's great to have good training and that's fantastic, but like you can have a trainer talk at you all day and if you don't know how to translate that knowledge kinesthetically into your own body, it's just words. So I'm a big believer in like just doing it for yourself and having a decent enough feedback loop that you can make progress on your own.
Yeah. So speaking, I got two questions for you here, but speaking of the feedback loop, since you said that, how important is it for you? Do you have a particular group of people that you kind of present things to if you have questions or like, hey, what should I do different? Or I'm just trying to feel this out. Like, what do you think of it? Like for me, I have my crew that all works at the gym. So when I make a move, I can assess it through them. Even if I still move forward, like those are kind of my people to, I want the first criticisms. I want them to kind of try to punch a hole in the plan first so we can adjust as a team. Do you have like anyone around you like that, or like other actors or?
Definitely, yeah, like when it comes to my business, especially like business structure, learning how to run the business, that's been the part for me that has been a lot steeper in terms of the learning curve. So I definitely have like what I think of and what I call a board of directors in my mind. And like that includes my family. Like they're the people that I kind of run decisions by, especially my siblings, my brothers. And but beyond that, it also includes like I work with some tax folks and like my bookkeepers. And, sometimes it includes uh like I worked with a couple of years ago, I was working with a physical trainer and like that was something that I just needed to outsource. And so it's like, well, you're a part of this too for this time.
Right.
But in terms of like my actual work in the booth, that's kind of the part that's always felt like really specific to me. And I really felt like, by the time I found that work, I was pretty well versed in my training and I knew my instrument, I knew myself pretty well. But that being said, early days, I had mentors too. I worked with some fantastic audio engineers who just knew how to give a note. And I still feel like I'm learning all the time. Like every time I'm on a session and I'm working with a new creative director, it's a new opportunity to understand how that person uses the modality of language and like how I can expand my own vocabulary to to be able to bridge the gap, that we have an understanding that we're trying to bridge with language, but even sometimes that's difficult.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very interesting that we've done this a few times now, just talking, and I've had different people, but it seems with creatives,
Mm.
and I know a lot of people look at me as a gym owner, but like this is a very creative thing, and a lot of what you're saying like is very much mirrors my personal story with building this, and it's very cool to see that it like your struggles a lot of times tend to be outside of the actual skill. And it sounds like you trust your skill to bring in everything else you need.
Yeah.
So like for me with training, it's brought me the right clientele who are smarter than me, more knowledgeable in different areas, and can help me in those places where I struggle so that then I can do the thing I'm good at even better. And it sounds very similar to you, like you said, you can get in the booth and kind of trust your instinct. For me, I try to just trust my gut with moves I make. I'll run it through my people and I'll pass it through that. But at the end of the day, a lot of times it's very much trusting yourself, your skill set, what you feel you can do. And I think that confidence is what helps the other people come in and believe in you as well.
Yeah.
And it makes the whole thing better.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned earlier talking about just getting going.
Yeah.
Use what you got,
Yeah.
kind of thing. How has that mindset and mentality helped you like get to where you are now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like I really love this idea of the beginner's mind. It's like no matter how much expertise you gain, you always have to approach every new situation with a beginner's mind. And I think in doing that, you ensure that you can continue to grow and to continue to expand your capacity for growth. So that is still very much a part of my work every day. Like just approaching things with kind of not only that clear mind where it's like I'm starting from scratch, um, but also like that conviction that other people have expertise to bring to me. Like I think a beginner's mindset is so much more compelling as a mode of walking through the world than an expert's mindset. And yeah, so I love to just make sure that my business, my practices, everything about my business is focused on always like opening my arms to being a beginner, embracing that and rejecting, the pride of expertise and the feeling that somebody owes me something because of however many years I've had in the industry or, well, I've worked on these big jobs or I've done this, I've earned. All that is not very, I haven't found that to be a very worthwhile mode of moving through my career or through my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I love success. I hustle hard, I succeed, and then I forget about it and I go on to the next thing. So I think short memory is really a good skill, like in anything.
I really like that. We a lot of times use the phrase day one. So every day we walk back in, it's day one again.
Yeah.
And it's like for us, we started in a garage with uh, a bar and one of every plate.
Yeah.
And at that point, I 100% believed in where I could go and what I wanted to do and all the things. So for me, I like to look at if today was day one and I had this as the setup, like how would I operate?
Love that.
And that has helped, I think, grow this to where it is because it does give you like a better perspective because it's very easy to start, especially in an industry where it's like the, physical building, like you're looking around at all these other places and you're always going to find someone better than you. I'm sure maybe for you, you hear a commercial and you're like, oh, that person talks so much better than me.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I need to be able to do that. Um, yeah, I think that the kind of day one, like just that beginner's mindset, like you don't know everything. You're not going to know everything. And the moment you think you do, you stop learning. So
That's the truth.
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the most fun, coolest projects you've got to work on?
Oh man. See, this is the problem with embracing a short memory is I forget. Like I'll do a job and I'll be like, man, that was a great big job. And then I'm like, on to the next thing. But yeah, let me think. I'm on one of my favorite projects that I keep getting brought back for, which is really fun. It's this game called Warframe. So it's like a, computer game people log on, play from all over the world. And that's been really fun just because that scratches like kind of that character development itch for me.
Yeah.
And it's also like really cool because it's high profile enough that, like I've had a couple people follow me on Instagram and be like, we love what you did in the game. And that's like, oh man, that's really a cool thing to like have a stranger be like, I admire what you did. And that's in your characterization.
Yeah, where they can't really see you either.
Totally.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like mostly an invisible job. And then to have people be like, the way that you brought this character to life is really compelling. That's like, that's so cool. And I just finished a big campaign. I mean, this was just another really fun one. I did a big campaign for Spectrum, which is an internet provider. And that was fun. That was like a bunch of 5-hour sessions, really long. But one of those like fun jobs, super straightforward campaign, but like big payout, which is always like, that's very fun. So I like those too.
So with the game thing, do you have a specific voice that you have to use or?
Yeah, I would say that like everything I do in the booth is my voice. Like there's a lot of exploration about like, just different imagination, like different imaginative things that I bring to the forefront. Because I really feel like the human voice is capable of so many different, types of voices. And so it's all about like, if you can get your imagination there and if you can kind of go one step further and like experience it like sensorially. So for me, it's like, okay, if I'm going to imagine this, let me think about like, where am I? What am I feeling, touching, smelling, tasting? Like how can I light up my imagination via specific details? And then I find that like whatever comes out is genuine. Right. And so it's more about like imagining myself in the circumstance and letting the performance like organically happen from there than it is like trying to get to a certain sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the game, do you have a specific sound?
It
Like, could you
depends.
give us an example?
Yeah.
Could you give us a line?
Oh yeah. Okay. So there's this really interesting concept in the game where it's like you have these characters, but then you also have like they're kind of like a shadow version of the character. So kind of the normal version of the character is like pretty close to my baseline. But then there's this character that sneaks out and like kind of tries to deceive. And one of my favorite lines is she always calls the character kiddo. So the lines are always along the line of like, hey kiddo. It's like really low and like, kind of crackly. And so that's always really fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I usually like if I'm in the booth, like I use clothes a lot to like differentiate stuff. So that's always when the hood comes up and then I'm like, all right, it's time to be this creepy version of myself. So
That's cool.
it's
That's
fun.
cool. Yeah, so like you feel the part.
Yeah, totally.
You said you originally wanted to be actor.
Yeah.
At what moment did you realize, like, even for that, because that's an unconventional job.
Yeah.
When did you realize like the normal 9 to 5 like cookie cutter job was not for you?
It's a great question. I would like to say that realization began to dawn pretty early. I'm definitely one of those people who has had like a million jobs. And I sometimes feel like, man, have I lived like 17 lives, you know? Because it's just like I've done so many different things, which is such a gift and so much fun. In my early 20s, you know, I was like going to school and thinking about possible career paths. And like I didn't find my way as an actor early. Like that was kind of it took me a long time to arrive at even just being comfortable being like, this is what I am, this is what I'm going for. Because for so long I just thought like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, is it practical? And the answer was no, but is yes now. So yeah, I think like it started early in my 20s when I was like working through a lot of different jobs and I was in college and I was a really hard worker. Like that's a value that I've had, you know, since I was like a really little kid. Um, but like the writing was on the wall for so long, you know, like when I was, I think 11, uh, I'm gonna date myself, but it was like newspapers were still, you know, like we still got the paper. And I placed an ad in the classifieds and I was like 11 years old. And I was really into horses because I was 11 years old. And so I was like, I will trade horseback riding lessons for manual labor. And like 5 people called me. It was a different day. But so like that was one of my first like legit jobs. Yeah. Other than like pet sitting was like I would go to a barn. Actually, it's right out where I live by where I live now. And I would muck stalls and, you know, groom horses. And then in exchange, people would let me ride. Because, you know, like I didn't have the money for that. My folks didn't have the money for that. And so like the entrepreneurial writing was on the wall super early.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. But I think it was my early 20s where I was really like, man, I had a lot of jobs. This is, you know, this is like, I can do a lot of different things and I work hard at everything. Even after I got out of school, it was just like, I would rather do a million different things and feel scattered than like clock in, clock out, clock in, clock out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe when you first announced that or like decided that, did you have kickback from people in that? Because I mean, that's a
kind of an atypical path,
kind of an
right?
odd, even for an odd job, it's an odd job to say, yeah, I'm gonna go record my voice and make money.
Yeah. You know, I'm really blessed. I come from a really supportive family. And so my story is different than a lot of people that I know who have chosen to go into the arts. Because even when I was broke as a joke, which was most of my life, you know, my people were still supportive of me. And they, you know, still felt like I had a gift and like they knew it and they believed in that, I think more strongly than I did at many points. And so I always had like my people have always backed my play. And so I feel really blessed by that. I think where I've come up against more opposition has been actually from employers. When I was in college, I was working kind of an artistic sort of job. It was like a teaching job. And I'll never forget, I had a boss tell me that I could be really good at this if I wanted, but I had no drive. He was like, you don't have any drive. And that so deeply did not square with my like self-knowledge. And it was really hard and like really hurtful for me. Cause you know, I was in my early 20s, I was pretty sensitive. And I was just like, dang, wow, that hurts a lot, especially because I had been working hard for this guy.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like that thing. It's like you can't ask a fish to climb a tree. Like that's not going to go well. And so I have definitely come up against bosses who have been like, why aren't you better at this?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's because I'm a fish and this is a tree. And like, I'm just here to get a paycheck. And that's fine. You know, that's good work too. But yeah.
Cut that. I feel that sentiment a lot.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of times through school was very tough because my mom worked in the school system. And so the teachers all knew her. And I got a lot of that same thing. Like, he's just not motivated. He doesn't care. He doesn't pay attention in class. Yeah. He's always drawn or thinking about something else. And now I get to use that skill and those skills all the time. And so it's kind of like feels like I told you so, you know?
Totally.
Like, I think, you know, just like you knew as a kid, whether you realized or not at that time, like you knew you kind of were a business person.
Yeah.
Or you saw your way to get yourself in the door.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people. They just don't realize what door they're actually trying to fit in or where they want to go. It's so easy to get caught up in I have to go this direction. I have to take this path. I have to do, this is what everybody does. So this is how it works. This is what we do. And it's very frustrating at times in these types of jobs where, you have those people, they seem to always be the ones that wanna give you the most advice. Were there times or have there been times where you faced that and maybe, like, what self-talk have you used to get through those kind of things?
Oh man, that's a great question. Yeah, because it is like that self-talk is really important, right? Because you're always gonna have people who doubt you, and to a certain degree, that's a blessing because, like, man, nothing will motivate you like just one or two really good haters, and it's like you kinda need a lot of good haters. I love good haters. I was just thinking this week, I was like, "No, I'm not gonna say that." I was gonna say, "Do I need more haters?" But, like, I don't even wanna speak that into the world. I don't want more haters. But I think, like, especially if you are a creative entrepreneur and, like, you know that you're gonna have to hustle for yourself, the way that you talk to yourself in the context of your business is really important, like, way more than I ever knew kind of when I started this game. Um, and yeah, I had somebody early days in my career when things were just starting to really take off with voiceover. Um, I had a mentor tell me that I was really lucky, and I remember they like came to talk to me and they were like, "Hey, I just want you to know, like, you're really lucky." And that got me good. Because I was, having gotten my terminal degree in the field, having worked my butt off in a lot of contracts and like kind of worked my way through the crappy internships and the low pay and the like, I got to sell a motorcycle so that I can pay my, whatever. It's like to be told that you're lucky is like that felt like a slap in the face to me.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think like one of the things that I developed in my self-talk in response to that, I just said this self to myself yesterday. It's not a fluke. That's what I kind of say to that mode of thinking. Because I still have that like sneak in my mind. Like last night, I was running my numbers for February and I was looking at the amount of voiceover that I billed in February. And it was a good month. Like it was such a good month. And I mean, it was so good that I like pushed back from my laptop and I was like, wow. But immediately in my mind, it was like, yeah, but, and I wrote myself a note. It's not a fluke. It's not a fluke. You're good at what you do. And I think that especially if you're a person who has artistic tendencies or entrepreneurial leanings, a lot of it, like you can feel like you get a lot of that feedback that it's like, well, you're just lucky. You hope for a little bit of luck thrown in there.
Got you.
But like also success is not a fluke. Like you don't build what you've built with this place. It's not a fluke.
Yeah.
Like it's blood, sweat, and tears, and
Yeah.
and it's intention and it's strategy. It's an incredible amount of hard work. And the same is true of my business, like you don't build something that has legs. Like you don't get that done and have it be a fluke.
Right.
So I think that idea of like stumbling into success is one that is wielded against entrepreneurial people or people who don't fit the mold of like a traditional 9 to 5 career. And then, people for whatever reason want to tell us when we have any success outside of the system that we're lucky. And I think it's really important to combat that.
Yeah.
Say, this is not a fluke. I've worked for this.
I agree. And I feel like a lot of times that sentiment really just comes from jealousy because most of the time is that the person that seems to be saying that is someone that's, in that system of a job or whatever they're doing, they're just not happy with it. And then they see you living the life you're living, being successful with something that you chose to do, the path you chose to walk. And I think it just becomes a jealousy thing a lot of time. So with what you do, I guess a lot of it's scripted.
Hmm.
If I'm wrong, tell me. But with it being scripted like that, and it's still a creative process, still a creative job. Like, do you hit mental blocks where like you ever just like sitting where you record and you're just like, I do not know how to do this anymore. Like, I feel like for me, there's a lot of times I'll sit down and when I play drums or play music, I'm like, do I even know how to play this thing anymore? When you go through or if you go through times like that, what are your little things you pull to get through that?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, I think if you're going to do anything with an artistic bent, and I think that includes being an entrepreneur because that's incredibly creative. I think that you're going to hit those times where even with your home base of skills, you're going to be like, is this real? Am I just kidding myself here? Can I really do this? And I found that it is really important to keep joy and playfulness at the center of my business. And that doesn't mean my business has no strategy. That doesn't mean I don't work my butt off in my business. But if I start to lose the joy and if I start to lose playfulness, especially if I'm in the booth recording voiceover and I can hear when I'm editing that my auditions start to sound flat and joyless and just like I'm knocking them out by the numbers instead of actually invested in the words and the process, I take a step back and I'm like, okay, we've lost the joy, which means we've lost the thread. And I mean, a lack of joy on my part, like, absolutely impacts my bottom line. I mean, like, I could look at my numbers and be like, whoa, that's really high. Like, what was I doing? Oh, yeah, I was doing this really cool thing in my life. And that, like, fed my joy in the booth. So I do, like, I try to make sure that my life is full outside of work, even though as an entrepreneur, like, it's pretty consuming. It's like, when are you not thinking about your business? You're always thinking about your business. But, like, I think it's important to diversify your passions. And so it's like, yeah, you have a lot of passion wrapped up in your business, which what a gift to be passionate about what you do and how you earn a living. But also, like, you have other passions. I have other passions. And so, for me, a lot of times that looks like, okay, well, that's enough voiceover for today. It's now time for me to go outside and like listen to my ducks quack and watch my chickens run around the yard. And like, I'm going to go, I'm going to hop on my motorcycle and go for a ride. I'm going to like go see my nieces and hang out with them for a little while. I'm going to do something that I enjoy and that I can enjoy regardless of whether I'm good at it or not.
Yeah.
And like, I think diversifying your passions in that way and diversifying the fun in your life is a really wise thing around the term. Like just opening yourself to having a big, juicy life that includes your business, I think is a really empowering thing. And it keeps the passion fresh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a motorcycle.
I do. I have too many motorcycles.
Really?
And I don't ride them enough. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm strong on motorcycles. I'm weak on motorcycle maintenance. If I'm
Oh, okay.
honest.
Okay. What's your collection?
I've got a CB 1100. That's like my big road bike. And it is beautiful and fun and fast. And then I've got a Suzuki like DR, and it's really fun and like really chunky on the trails. And then I've got a new KTM that I bought just a couple years ago, and it's like I think it's a 300, and it's like super tall. It's spicy. It's really fun. That's like my favorite trail bike. Yeah.
I knew about the ducks and the chicken, but the bikes, that's kind of what
The motorcycles are in there too.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I asked you about the hard side of like getting stuck mentally,
Yeah.
but there's also times where I'm sure you're in a moment where it feels like you can do no wrong.
Yeah.
What does it take for you to get there? And when you get there, what's that like for you?
Yeah, like the slow state, right?
Yeah. What's your flow state?
Ooh, I love that. I love that conversation around the flow state. Yeah, my flow state is in the booth. Like when I shut that door, and I lock the little handle so it's nice and quiet in there. I've got my booth set up like I like it. I've got, little lights in there, little banners in there, little Post-it notes with sayings in there. And it's like, just somebody give me words and like, I'm off.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I love language. I love literature. Like my parents read to me a lot when I was a kid. I was a voracious reader as a kid. And so, man, if you give me a good story, even if it's a 30-second story that somebody's telling about their product, if the story is good, like flow state is easy.
Yeah.
Because like that is just like stories are like, they're like food to me, like I love a good story. That's kind of, I feel like how my world and my mind is organized. And so even if it's a little micro story that's 15, 30 seconds long, I can really get into that. So definitely like that booth time feels like flow state to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you like books, you like to read. Have you ever narrated a kid's book?
I have. Yes.
What was the book?
Okay, so I narrated a version of this book called Little Sock. And it's this really cute kids book about like what happens to one sock when it gets stuck in the dryer. So cute. It was really fun because I narrated the book and then the story went like to Netflix. Like they produced it as a little cartoon and they ended up having like a little kid read the book, but I got to voice the sock. But of course, the sock didn't speak English, so it was just me like making what I imagined were little sock noises. And so and that was like so fun because you can go watch it on Netflix and you can hear the little sock noises. And I'm like, that's me. I'm the sock. Like, so
What does a sock noise sound like?
It's like really small and like it's like all little cartoon noises. It's very fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, I gotta go watch that.
Oh, it's very cute. It's like, and the sock that gets lost. It's such a good concept for a book. Like, it's so cute.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm just picturing a sock now.
it is really cute.
I
Like,
feel like
it's
I
worth a
see that
watch.
too well in my head. Just
It's a super cute book.
when you get the jobs that like maybe are a little more meaningful to you, if someone were to listen to your voice or even actually watch you do that,
Yeah.
what do you think they would pick up? Like, do you think there's a point of inspiration that you're leaving out there for somebody that they could pick on and maybe just connect to?
Yeah. I mean, I hope that with all of my work, and I think that this is what sets me apart in the booth and enables me to do really well. I think there's a ring of authenticity to everything that I do with my voice. Um, so you're not going to hear me, put on a voice that tries to sell you something. I'm always looking for like the organic point of entry
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, even if this person is asking for like a straightforward sales read, what's the Emily version of that, which is all about like actor training, because it's what's your Lady Macbeth, or like what's your Rosalind? It's like, what's the lens, through which you interpret this character? That's what makes it special. That's what makes it compelling to people. And I mean, the same can be kind of extrapolated as we just talk about like creative entrepreneurship. It's like, there are the facts of a business, and that's fine. There are the facts of building something for yourself, and that's fine. But like, what really makes something sing is that it's yours and it's your voice. And so I hope that everything I do in the booth and in my business, like not just the actual voiceover products that I make, but also like how I represent myself in my business, my brand, what I'm building. I hope that it all rings with authenticity.
That's really good. I really like that. I resonate very much with that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in the gym world, it's very much the same thing. Like I say it all the time. I'm very influenced by Corey Gregory, and he was very similar start. Kind of came from nothing and built his way from the ground up, and has put himself in a high position in the fitness world and supplement world, and just as even as a business person, he's
Yeah.
for me become such a role model and example, but I know the same for so many people. And it's simply because the entire time I've watched him, he's been very authentic with what he's doing. He's very open, honest about what he's doing
Yeah.
and what his purpose is as well. That for me was something that kind of stuck out where I was like, yeah, he does it in a way that's very unique.
Yeah.
And I resonate with that more because this is somebody that's doing that coming from a place that I'm familiar with. So I think it is important, like with your creative work and whatever you do, that you are, like you said, coming from a lens of like, what do you see from this thing, and how can you bring that to life your way?
Yeah.
It's not, I'm sure, for me, there's a ton of gyms out there.
Yeah.
There's not another Work Harder. There's not another gym close.
No.
And I say that confidently, not arrogantly, because it's not about like I'm better than anybody. It's just like no one can see it the way I see it.
Yeah.
And the more I lean into my vision, my own authenticity,
Yeah.
then it's gonna come out even better. And those people that need that or are looking for that are always gonna find it. So I think it's super cool that with a position of a creative job that you can bring that to the table and not just be, another gym or another commercial voice.
Yeah.
You could be unique.
100%. And I think there's something like really powerful about making peace with being authentic, because you know that like some people are not going to like your authentic self and like the authenticity that you bring. Like, there are going to be people who are like, I mean, there are people who listen to my auditions and they're like, I don't want that girl on my job. And that's okay. But like, the hope, I think, with like being a creative, an entrepreneur who prioritizes authenticity, is like you release that not only for your own self and your own success, hopefully, but people downstream of you will see that. And so like, I mean, people walk into your place, they walk into Work Harder and they feel inspired because like this place is built on authenticity.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a resonance there. Like, I felt it like the first time I came in here. It was like I came in a year ago and I was like, this gym is fantastic. And it's like since then, it's like I'm telling all my friends, like I'm a diehard about it because the branding is like so clear and it's so authentic. It's not branding for the sake of branding. It's not a voice that's trying to match other voices. It's like, no, this is what these guys are about, and it's clear. And like, as a person who also values authenticity, like this resonates with me.
Yeah.
And so it's like the ability that we have as people doing our own thing to then also help other people unlock whatever their own thing is. I think that's so powerful. And
Yeah.
that really like changes the way I move through my life, because then it's not just about me. It's not just about like I'm expressing myself. It's like, no,
Yeah.
if I live my life authentically, then like my niece who's, my oldest niece who's 18, she gets to see that and hopefully feel empowered in her life to like not take the most traditional path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The door's wide open.
The door's wide
Yeah.
open. Yeah.
I love that viewpoint. I appreciate what you said. So speaking of the gym, and this is kind of for me personally, I just want to know your first impression, first time walking in. How did you find us? Did you find us through like Instagram, social media?
I think it was through Instagram. Yeah, I think that's right. It must have been like a suggested ad out there for me, because I mean, I live not far from here, but I didn't know about you guys. And I was going to a box gym, and had been at it for, pretty intensely, training really steadily for at least, a year or so before I found you guys.
Cool. From what you saw to when you walked in, what was it like?
Yeah.
Because for me, it's very difficult sometimes to realize like what it is
Yeah.
at times, if that makes sense, because I'm always looking, like you said, I'm always looking to how can I improve it? How can I improve it? How can I improve it? And sometimes it's hard to step back and like kind of reset your perspective to, you built this from an empty garage.
Yeah.
So I always like to hear like when you first walked in, like what was it like? What was it like to walk in this place for the first time?
Yeah, I feel like, instantly I recognized this really cool combination because I felt super welcomed. Like it was Connor behind the desk, and like I felt so welcomed. Like it was like, oh, this place can be for me, you know? But like also this gym has such a strong such a strong work ethic. And that really resonated with me because like when I'm training, like I'm not messing around. It's not vanity training. Like I'm trying to get stronger for my life, and I'm trying to be the best that I can be in every area of my life, including, my physical output. And so like I knew immediately that that was what you guys were about.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, these people are for, folks who want to come in and be serious at any stage of the game, because it's not like I've been training for decades,
Yeah.
but like I'm steady and like it's an important part of my life. And it was like, man, I'm really welcomed here, no matter what stage of the journey I'm at. But like also, I'm here to work. And I was just like, oh, I really like that a lot. And then, even like practically, I was like, this is the cleanest gym I have ever seen. And like, it's the coolest looking gym. Like, the vibes are immaculate. And this is so funny because, like, I remember, this must have been sometime last year. It was early days of me coming to this gym. I I went into the women's bathroom, and it was the first time that I had noticed the little bowl of hair ties. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I feel so seen. And I like did my workout, whatever. And then I was driving home and I pulled over in a gas station to like get on my Instagram stories because I was so compelled by like how thoroughly you guys saw your customers. And I like said on my Instagram, I was like, this is brand excellence. Like, this is what people are talking about when they talk about excellence in branding, excellence in customer service. Like, this is how all of us who are in service to clients in any capacity, this is how we should be seeing our customers and meeting them where they are. So I was super impacted by, all of those things. But yeah, that bowl of hair ties,
Yeah.
that got me good. It got me really good.
That's great.
Yeah.
I've worked really hard for this place, so that's really really cool to hear the hair tie thing.
Hair tie.
So
Yeah.
I have 5 sisters, so I know the annoyance of long
Yeah.
hair. I
Yeah.
don't wear a ponytail, but I have long hair, so I get it. Actually, the ponytail thing came from the very first gym I worked at. It was just a little local gym, and all the time it seemed like women would come in for their workout, or a lot of times it was like Zumba classes and stuff, and somebody would come, hey, yeah, the ponytail holder?
Yeah.
Like, no, that I got a rubber band. And eventually I just kind of got tired of that. I kind of got tired of that happening. And then I moved here, started working at another gym, and same thing. And all right, what? Like, ponytails aren't expensive.
No.
They're not that expensive.
Yeah.
And so I always like that was one of those things where no one else did it.
Yeah.
Never saw that before, but I knew there was a need for it because people always coming up asking.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just put a little bowl. And then over the years, we've just had like, I think we've probably bought one pack. And now we have a bag in the back and people have just donated, hey, here's some extra ponytails for the thing. And I think that's so cool because it is one of those things where I felt like that was just such a simple, easy thing to do. You're just making life a little more convenient for somebody. And again, with the cleanliness of the gym, people putting their stuff back, the number one complaint at any gym you go to is, oh, the gym's a mess. I got to go search for plates.
Right.
So if I can eliminate that problem, how much easier it is for you to come in and do your work and just focus on your workout and focus on that part of it rather than that little negative annoyance of, oh, I don't have a ponytail or, I got to go get this plate from over here and then go search for another one over there. You just kind of know where everything's at. So it just makes it easier for you to come in and get the most out of your workout. You know, a lot of people are struggling with, just even having the time to get in there. So I just want to make it simple process, as easy as possible for you to get the best and the most out of your time in there. So yeah, that's really cool that you said what you said and said it the way you said too.
Well,
I really appreciate that.
yeah, like that's the brilliance, right? Like this is like part of your brilliance as an entrepreneur is like, and I found this to be true. Like, you do things and it's like, well, this is just how I do it. This is how I would do it. Just thinking about the customer. And it seems really simple to you, but like me interpreting that gesture, like that was so powerful. I was like, I mean, I think I remember saying on that Instagram story that I pulled over to make because I couldn't wait the remaining 5 minutes of the drive that I had. I was like, I have to talk about this right now. I was like, this gym gets it. Like they understand how to serve their customers. And again, it's just like, the brilliance of you like watching over years and like thinking about other people, like putting yourself in their shoes. Like it seems like an easy thing to you, but to your customers, like that is, I mean, it's so cool and it makes us feel so seen. And it's like, man, it's so wild how like sometimes the things like that are so like those things that are so brilliant, they just come naturally to you. I'm like, that's the magic of
Yeah.
doing your own thing.
And it is really cool. A lot of it does come naturally. I'm a big observer.
Yeah.
I'm not a big be in the crowd, talk to everybody, people person. I've always been more of an observer. So, and I have a big family, so a lot of times it's very easy to kind of be in the background, which is I like it. But with the gym world, it's been really cool to see how that's paid off. Even something as simple as a ponytail, or a lot of times like the layout of equipment. I love to watch the patterns of ways people move through the gym. So Connor can tell you, there's been plenty of times where we've rearranged because of one little, constant point of like friction in the gym where people are kind of jammed up. And I kind of pride myself on the ability to be able to do that because I owe it to the first gym I worked at. I used to, the way the office was set up, it was separate and there's this glass window you can look out and you can see the whole gym floor.
Yeah.
And I'd watch people work out and the way the machines were originally set up, like the little like selectorized machines and stuff were set up, was just not random, but they were kind of just in a group.
Yeah.
And I'd watch people work out and I'd just watch, this person's working back, but they got to go over here for this machine and then across the gym for this machine. And then this machine's over here. So like, how can I make it simpler for even, like an older person to come in or someone that's never walked in the gym? Everybody does this thing. A lot of times they come in the gym for the first time, they kind of just go to a spot where they can look around.
Yeah.
How much easier would it be for that person if they could just go, okay, there's the back machines, there's the leg machines, there's these machines. And at least I can kind of go get on this one machine and look to this one and look to this one and be like, okay, that's the same muscles I'm working, that kind of thing. I've always been someone who wants to stay out of the way. So I observe it from that level. Like, how can I just not be a burden? How can I not have to go ask for help if I don't want to?
So true. Like that's such a powerful thing. I mean, like there's always, I mean, anytime you go to a new gym, I think even if you've been working out for years, it's like that intimidation factor is high.
Yes.
And like I think that's probably why I walked in and felt like this place is for me. Like it didn't require me to, like it didn't feel herky jerky. And it's like, I didn't know why that was, but you're explaining it to me right now. It's like,
Yeah,
hey, that's brilliant. That's so good.
like I said, I love just the flow
Yeah.
and keeping it simple, keeping it easy, like eliminating unnecessary problems, like whether it's, the ponytails or,
Right.
just the confusion of how things work or where they're at. Again, that goes back to the cleanliness. It's so much easier when you walk in the gym and everything is where it's supposed to be. It's kind of should be common sense to know this is where these things go.
Right.
So yeah, I love the result of that work.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm very thankful that the first gym I worked at, they let me at one point she told me, I said, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Would you be cool with me trying it? And she said, yeah, go ahead. If you can move it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And like immediately everybody were coming in that day and I was like, oh, it's weird, but it works. Like this is better. And we actually gained floor space.
Yeah.
And
Savvy.
when we had the garage and I essentially built a full use garage gym and I had everything. You could do a full workout, whatever you want to do, you could do it in the garage.
Yeah.
And the fact that at one point I was able to get the car in, I always thought that was really cool. And I kind of challenged myself in that way. Like, how can I make this the most useful? How can I get the most out of it? So if I have friends over and we want to go throw darts in the garage, can we still do that? If it's hailing outside and I need to move the car in, can I still do that? Like, how much can I get in here and still get all the uses out of it?
Yeah.
So that's always been that's honestly probably my favorite thing about the gym. It's just getting to kind of play that game as like Tetris, as Connor always says.
Well,
But
that's so cool.
yeah,
I love that. Well, and like I'm somebody who like when I'm lifting, I pace in between my sets. Like I just like
do you do the circles? You did the circles.
Cause like I have a lot. I was talking to a buddy here the other day, and he was like, "You don't take any pre-workout?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "Sometimes I eat an orange," but and he was like, "So you're just fueled by rage?" And I was like, "Yes. Well, not rage, but energy. I have a lot of energy when I come to the gym, and like you're running your own business. You got a lot going all the time, and so it's like I need to be in the gym, and like so when I'm here, I'm lifting, and then I'm pacing, and like." I never like get stuck in traffic here. And like I've been at other gyms where it's like I can't walk. It's just like it's too fast. I'm like running into somebody every time I take a walk or every time I go to fill up my water. And it's like here I can always find a path. And now I'm learning why. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, it's like I said, for me, I always like to. That's anywhere I go, I'm always finding what's the ways to move.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I like doing that. I don't know if there's a market for this. If there is, I'm for hire. But I would love to like do more of that. I think it's a fun game. Like just to sit in the gym for a week or so and just watch the flow of it and be like, hey, you could do this, this, and this, and it would work way better. So maybe that'll be my voice acting.
Yes.
Uh,
Well,
Yeah.
spatial specialist.
yeah, that's a good type. I like that. You said like the layout, the hair ties. What about the gym draws you to it in the sense of just like, this is a place that you want to be for the sense of your workout? Like, is there equipment that you like? What about the gym in that aspect do you like the most?
There's an old school feel to this gym because of like the equipment, because of how you have the space set up that I really like. I feel like if I want to be a power lifter here, I can. But also if I want to just kind of do my like bodybuilding strength, whatever stuff, I'm also welcome to do that. And then it's like, if I want to bring my mom and she wants to work on the treadmill, like, and just hang out while I lift, she's welcome here. So I love like the variety, not only of equipment that you have here, but also like the variety of styles that can be perfected here and like worked on here in significant ways where it's like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you want to make gains, you can make them here, like in significant ways because the equipment is here. The knowledge is here. Like I always know if like I want to try a new piece of equipment that I'm not familiar with, like I always know that I can go ask Connor and he'll tell me, and so I think like y'all have such a broad base of not only equipment, but also expertise. You're going to meet everybody where they are. And so whatever you're trying to make progress in, no matter what your style of exercise is, your style of lifting, your style of training, like you can make it here. and y'all are so good at meeting the customer where they are, which I love.
It's kind of funny that like you brought up Connor and asking about like help for equipment and stuff like that, because our relationship started with him coming to me for training.
Oh, nice.
And so like a lot of times that I always just kind of laugh to myself when people say that, because I'm like, man, how far we've come.
That's cool.
Because there was a point where he literally didn't know anything. And now he is someone that is knowledgeable.
Yeah,
and
authority here.
and can help. And the cool thing about everybody that works at this gym and is involved in this gym is if they don't know, they will find the person that knows for you. We truly want the best for anyone who comes to the door, and anyone who's willing to do the work to get whatever the result is they want. And that's kind of always been the main goal of the gym, for anybody to walk in at any level, any skill set, any mindset, even to get something out of this place. And I've always used the verse that talks about whatever your hand finds to do with all your might. And so, and in the very beginning, one of our first little taglines that we used was, whatever you do, work harder. And it's not only like about actually working harder, but it's also for us, we wanted to put that as a brand. Like, whatever you do, work harder as a brand and as a community is a place that you can find that source of information, that source of encouragement, inspiration, whatever it is you're looking for. Like, work harder is a place that, if it has that logo on it or if it's tied to that, like, it's good.
It's awesome.
And that's the kind of place I've always wanted to, that's kind of my goal with this gym and the brand is just, I want to be that community that's so good and so intentional about everything it does that, if their logo's on it, it's good.
Yeah. I love that. Like, you guys have such a cool combo of, like, and it's not an easy line to walk, but like, this place is extremely inclusive and like absolutely able to meet anybody where they are. But at the same time, like, you're helping people grow in excellence. And like, a lot of times you get one without the other. You get excellence that has like a sense of separation. It's like, you can't sit with us, because we're too excellent and you're not excellent. Like, there's that in the world and in plenty of gyms. Or you just get like, we're all about inclusivity and we're never going to push you. We're never going to ask you to grow.
It becomes
We're just going to include you. Yeah. And it's like, well, no, I want somebody who's going to include me. I want a place where I can belong. But I want to belong with people who are going to spur me into growth. And it's like, you guys hit both of those things. And I don't think that's easy to do.
Yeah. I would say it's not. No.
Yeah.
I like to look at it a lot of times as I'm sprinting.
Yeah.
For me personally, I started this. It's like you said, it's always been there. It's been there for me since I was a kid, but I've really found it, over time that this is what I wanted to do, what I was called to do. And from the moment I felt like the pursuit of this gym was what I needed to do, I've ran as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And it's kind of always been one of those things where, like, when I met Connor and we became friends and we first started like considering business, I was sprinting. I'm like, hey, like, I know you have the work ethic to keep up. We have a skill set that complements what I do. Like, you can do things that I can't. Can you run with me? And that's the way I look at it. I'm not stopping for you. I'm not slowing down for you. I'll pick you up along the way, but like, I'm running.
Yeah.
So you can come with me and we can be a group that encourage each other. Cause it's like, we used to do lunges all the time. And I mean, we still do, but we used to do 15 minutes a day and we were committed to that. And as a group, it became much easier. Like, when it was me by myself, you're thinking every step, this is tough. You get two people and you're both like, this is tough. Yeah, this is tough. So like, we're going to do it together. You get 3 or 4 and you're just talking about anything but lunges. And before you know it, you're like, man, I wish we could have gone further because I wasn't done talking. And so, yeah, I like that mindset. And it's very cool to see how the more I've learned to, in a way, step away from the gym side, step away from looking at other gyms or even like being involved in the fitness world and just pursued my own creativity within it. it's brought more people like that around. It's, like, brought people like you to where I'm hearing these stories, and it's like everything is the same.
Yeah.
The mindset is the same. The
Right.
approach is the same. You're talking
Across
about
disciplines,
Yes,
across
you're
careers.
talking about doing reps, and you're learning from reps of just recording your voice and
Yeah.
listening back. It's the
Yeah.
same thing working out, and you're just even with your mentality, you gotta go through adversities to be able to have that test to
Yeah.
push through. Just like lifting weights, you gotta if you wanna get a little stronger, you gotta lift a little heavier.
Mhm.
You gotta do the things necessary, and it's really cool to see that leaning into a creative side of things and really just being my authentic self is
Yeah.
I think that's what really in the last couple years has made this place even more of what it is.
Yeah.
Because I know you've been here a year, but if you look back at like some of the beginning pictures, it looks kind of like a standard gym.
Mm.
And then really I feel like the moment we started adding purple lights,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, why are you doing purple? Well, purple's my favorite color. And
Pick
then,
it up.
and then it kind of came like a game.
Yeah.
Like, like these people were like, why purple? Why don't you make it red? Because, just black and red so intense. I'm like, I don't like red like that. Like,
Yeah.
I want purple. That's my
Yeah.
color. So then I just as a joke,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm just gonna put some
Double
more in.
down
And
on
then
it.
as I was
Yeah.
like, and then I started again kind of going crazy with it, but
Yeah.
I liked it. And the more I did that, the more I realized like who was here to be about the place and who was just gonna like there's always gonna be people who pick it apart and
Yeah.
oh well you don't have this, so you're not like this other place. This other place does this, so you're not as good as them. I'm like, that's fine. I'm me. I want to be me.
Right.
And I'm very proud that I can walk around this gym and walk through all the spots and even in this space as like unorganized as some of it is, it's like this is a reality.
Yeah.
Like I have these parts of me in myself that are very polished and fixed, but there's these other parts that I'm still working on.
100%.
And th- giving yourself grace in those areas to like just learn, like
Yeah.
be able to learn, like, hey, I don't really have a place to put all these things, but I can kind of get them out of the way so I can make a podcast space and then grow from there, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to have a career where you can be creative and just work off your own skills and rely on yourself
Yeah.
in a sense to just be you
Yeah.
and get the most out of that.
Yeah.
How do you find with what you do, and it doesn't have to be this gym per se, but how do you find with what you do, where's the crossover? Where's the crossover for you personally of the two? Like, how does the gym help Fablehound become better?
Yeah. What a great that's a great question. I feel like I've thought a lot about that in the last couple of years because physical training is never just physical training. That's what I've learned. Like it's one thing to be like, I should go to the gym, I should work out, but like it's never, ever just about that. Like physical training is emotional training, physical training is mental training, physical training is spiritual training. And like if you can embrace it on all the fronts on which it invites you to embrace it, the progress that you make is wild. And I mean, like, my devotion to physical discipline in the last couple of years has made me, more resilient in the booth. It's also just made me more resilient for life. And I've realized like how physical training touches everything, It's like, all right, well, if I want to show up for the people in my life, like I need to pay attention to this. And, I mean, I'm a pretty firm believer in the fact that what we do with our bodies affects what we do with our souls. And so it's like that's a big part of it for me is like this body, this physical form is a gift that I have for a little bit of time, and it is important how I steward it. And so, like I steward things in my business, I steward things in my physical home, in my personal life, and in my body. And it's like it's all one thing and it all feeds into one another. All of those things feed into one another.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. That's spot on.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of what you said is like it's really cool because it's very reflective of my own thoughts, and
Yeah.
I feel very fortunate and I'm very grateful for the fact that everything I've been through to build this place has brought me moments like this.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, like how fulfilling that is.
Yeah.
And just it's like the ponytail thing, like hearing those kind of stories, it's like it is such a small thing that many people walk by. Like most of the guys have no clue about that, and
No,
they've
they
seen
wouldn't know. Yeah.
nothing. I'm not really looking for credit for that.
Right.
Like, it's cool to get acknowledged, but it's
Yeah.
like what I thought was correct.
Right.
And that's very cool to see.
Yeah. Well, and integrity, for me, integrity is such a huge part of running my own business. It's like, I don't want to do things that are just self-serving, you know? Like, I don't want that to be how I live my life. And it's like, okay, well, then how is my business infused with that? Like, am I are the practices in my business full of integrity? Like, am I walking rightly in my business? And that means, like, what are the things that I do behind the scenes that maybe I'll never get credit for? Maybe no one will notice, but I will know. I will know, God will know. And it's like, that's important to me. And like, you know, there's that verse in the Bible that says like what you whisper in your room will be shouted from the rooftops, you know. It's like nothing is really hidden. Nothing is really secret. And so like character matters and integrity matters, and like what you do just for the sake of doing it well and doing things right. I really believe that those things matter.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's very well said. One of the first things I don't remember when this was, had to be in about a year ago, probably. One of the first things I remember seeing you was your tattoo
Yeah.
on your elbow.
Oh yeah.
Um, if you don't mind, I'm curious what that means to you.
Yeah. Oh, I love to talk about elbow room. Elbow room is like a really foundational concept in my life and in my business. And it actually comes from a poem about Daniel Boone. And it's like just this idea of, you know, he's this American pioneer and he's always pushing for new frontiers. And that's his kind of mantra is, the poem says elbow room, says Daniel Boone. And I grew up with my dad always saying that to me. He's a real big explorer. He's a real big adventurer. And so anytime that we're taking up territory, that's what we say to each other. Elbow room, said Daniel Boone. Like we're always looking for just more freedom, more room in our lives. And that's really what Fablehound is. It's my effort at like carving out more elbow room for me and my people so that we can have more freedom. And that's what I really try to have at the heart of how I make decisions in my business, but also in my life. Like I will not be driven by fear. I will not allow fear to make my decisions. Um, I don't want to play small. I don't want to hedge my bets when I make choices. I want to solve for freedom in my business and in my heart, in my life. And so that's what elbow room represents to me, is just that idea of like, I don't care how we're doing it. I don't care what we're doing. We're solving for freedom.
Yeah.
Like we're going to carve out some space here.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I remember seeing that, and it kind of, not the poem and everything, but like what you're saying is kind of like what I would put together from that. But you never know what someone's tattoo means.
Yeah,
That
totally.
could just be some random lyrics or
Very
whatever.
true. Very true.
So yeah, that's really cool to see.
Yeah.
You knew at a fairly, or recognized maybe at a young age, that you wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
If you could go back to maybe even that young girl putting the ads in the paper, or even your 20-year-old self when you kind of move towards your career, what would your advice be for someone, or if you could go back and speak to that person, what would you say?
I would tell her to trust her gut. I think I spent a lot of time in those early years second guessing myself and like kind of gaslighting myself about like who I was and what I wanted to do, because I think I knew pretty early that I wasn't setting out on like a very traditional path. And there are a lot of things about my life that are not very traditional at all. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like doing things a traditional way. I don't think there's anything wrong with a 9 to 5. Like some people thrive in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I friggin' love that for them. But I think I spent a lot of time feeling like a square peg in a round hole. And I think that a lot of those feelings I just created. And if I could have just learned to like trust my gut and not worry about the shape of, what I was growing into, I wouldn't have had so much internal strain during those years when I was really trying to put together what I wanted my life and my career to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's very easy to, like, again, just being young and everything, and starting out something new. And it's very easy to compare and all the things that, even when like, this is for me, this is what I want to be, you still like sometimes find yourself like, I'm kind of trying to fit in a mold that I don't really want to be in, or I'm kind of
Totally.
feel like I have to go this way because this is what everybody's saying, and I really don't really feel like I
Yeah.
want to go that way.
Well, and I think that, like, I had this perception, at least, about, like, creativity and being an entrepreneur. Like, I just thought that it would be clearer than it has turned out for me. You know, I just thought, well, when people I had this idea, right? Like, when people are entrepreneurs and they're, like, starting something new, they have, like, this really clear vision and they know where to go and they're confident about it all the time. And it's like, not if they're doing something new, they're not.
Right.
That's not what new means. New means you don't know how to do it because nobody's shown you how. So of course, in that, there's a lot of second guessing yourself. There's a lot of, like, you fumble the ball a lot when you're
Yeah.
trying to do something new. But, like, that's because you're doing the thing. It's not a smooth process. It's not even always how people present it when they talk about entrepreneurship or creativity. It's like, we always are seeing the polished package deal, but that's not what it's like from the inside. And that's so normal. Like, that's actually sometimes a signifier that, like, you're on it, you're doing the right thing. You know, like, ease does not mean rightness, like, ease doesn't mean anything, really. Like, I don't really count on ease to measure anything.
Yeah, and I don't know that me personally, with my pursuit of this, that there's been much of that.
Yeah,
There's just kind of been always like an uncomfortable confidence.
totally.
I know where I'm going. I may not know exactly how I'm going to get there, but I know where I'm going. I know what I want out of this. I know what I'm pursuing, and it's really cool to hear your story. And I hope a lot of people get to hear it from this. Like I said, very reflective of, I feel like, my own, and different careers, completely opposite things, but it's like the mindset of it all is very much the same.
Yeah.
My goal with this whole podcast and just talking to people like you is exactly what we said earlier. I hope that person or that little version of me or that little version of you is out there and they are able to find this and just be like, if they did it, I know I can do it.
Yes.
Because I know for me, I look at myself and the way I've, s- pursued this has just been kind of go and learn.
Yeah.
And if for me, I can share my story and be as open as possible, then maybe I can be someone else's Corey Gregory, someone else's inspiration. So they're like, man, that guy's got it all figured out. And I've watched him from the beginning.
Yeah.
We're 6 years in the gym, 7 years of work harder technically. So that's a lot of time to learn, a lot of time to grow. And I'm very thankful now for the growth of the gym and the brand to be able to sit down and share these stories, because not only for someone else, but for me, it's very encouraging to hear the things that you've said about, the gym, but also your own pursuit, because it's like, man, I'm not alone in this either.
Right.
Because even with this right now, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I can sit down and have a conversation and the rest will work out.
Yeah. Well, entrepreneurship can be lonely.
Very,
Like, when you're doing, there's no water cooler. There's no built-in, like, I don't have a work bestie. Like, it's just me. I mean, maybe my dog.
You and the
That's
stock
the outer system. That's it. So and it is like, even though we're not in the same field at all, it's like, oh, but we're hustling the same way.
Yeah.
And that's such a great good to, like, find people who, yeah, no, we're not doing the same things, but we're the same kind of person and we're, like, hustling the same direction. We're both, like you said, sprinting. It's like you can look over and be like, hey, you're also sprinting. Fantastic, let's go.
Let's go.
That's so
Yeah.
encouraging.
Yeah, it's easier to pick up the pace at that time.
Totally.
Yeah, it is. Like, you come in the gym and you see such a variety of people, and I love that this gym draws that mindset,
Yeah.
because again, it's inspirational. But even working out, like you're coming in from, you may have a hard day, and
Yeah.
I'm over here at the gym most of the day. We're here most of the day, and we have a hard day too. But when we're working out, it's kind of like the same thing. You look over and you're like, hey, that was a great set. Like,
Totally.
your form looks great. Whatever. Like,
Yeah.
happy to see you here. Whatever it is, it's really cool to have a community that has that kind of atmosphere.
That's so true. I was talking to Kenny the other day, and he was like, what are you doing today? And I was like, oh, I'm doing, like, a push day. I'm doing, like, chest, shoulder. And he was like, what are you doing on chest? What's your PR? I'm like, Kenny's a big guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, oh, dude, like, I'm slinging around those, like, 45-pound dumbbells, like, if I'm pushing really hard. Like, that's my max. And I was like, but I'm deloading this week. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, I'm not deloading. I just did like the 100-pound dumbbells for like 4 sets of 15. And I was like, dude, that's insane. And I was like, that's so heavy. And he just grinned. And it's like, you see somebody who's really strong and they're really hustling and you think, well, they probably don't need like my encouragement. Like, but Kenny was so happy.
Yeah.
That I was like,
Yeah.
dang, Kenny, that's so heavy. And he was like, yeah. That one, I was like, I love that. Like, and that happens all the time here. And it's like, it was such a good reminder to me. It was like, yeah, like everybody needs somebody rooting for him.
Yeah, a little bit of a compliment, encouragement, something. Like, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And 45 is impressive.
Thank you. Slowly but surely.
I've trained a lot of women, a lot of different people, and I know a lot of people that don't press 45s.
This is hard. It's hard work.
Yeah. They're very heavy.
So heavy.
They're really heavy here.
Extra. They're like a little extra heavy here because work harder.
Yeah, it's work harder.
Obviously.
Everything's like 2.5 heavier. So what are you working on now that's like exciting?
Yeah. So this is like an expansion of Fablehound. Like I do feel like Fablehound's kind of on lock, and it's like my voiceover stuff. I'm just doing it. I'm doing it. But I'm really interested in like buying some new property this year. And that's even kind of like a separate venture from what I do at Fablehound. But I'm really excited about maybe investing in property, and I'm really intrigued by the idea of gathering groups of creative entrepreneurs. Like I've worked with a lot of actors, but I've also been lucky enough to work with a lot of people who are not actors and who, are again, like hustling, like sprinting at this, like in the same direction, even though they're not necessarily in the same, career venue. And I'm really interested in the idea of having a space where those people can get together and where we can compare notes as entrepreneurs and like make it feel not so lonely. And it's like, I think I just want to go to grown-up summer camp. So I'm just looking at land and thinking about that long term.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I kind of asked this in a way earlier, but I'll rephrase it a little bit. For someone out there who, at any level, any age, whatever, for someone looking to go all in on themselves, whether that's a new career, creative career, side job, starting a new business, whatever that is, what would your advice be for someone who's kind of at the edge and they want to take that step, but they're not quite there yet? What would you say to kind of give them a nudge?
Yeah, I would say imperfect action always beats inaction. Like just choose and go. I think I've spent a lot of time in my life on that edge, wanting to make the right decision or wasting a lot of time thinking too hard about what I should do. I think about this a lot in like the context of riding dirt bikes, because it's really one of the most important things you do on a dirt bike when you're out in the woods, never been there before. You have to choose a line. You got to make sure that like where you're going. You can think as much as you want beforehand about choosing the perfect line. You can theorize about it. You can think, oh, well, okay, if I see this kind of terrain, I'm going to do this. All of that is BS. Until you are on the bike, choosing the line, like you don't really know anything.
Yeah.
And like the slower you go on a motorcycle, the harder it is. So like an imperfect line decisively chosen will always be the best theoretical line. So like if you're on the edge of action, just start. You can perfect it and make it better as you go. But like inaction is going to kill more dreams and more careers and more projects than imperfect action ever will.
That is the key. I think that's the key. And it's funny you say, like, you use that analogy because it's one of those things where a lot of times, it may look like you're about to go through the woods, but the next thing you know, it's a wide open clearing. And you've been over here trying to debate, should I go through this little patch?
100%.
So yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. You can never really know until you're going. Like until you are rolling, everything is theoretical.
Yeah.
And so it's like, just start rolling sooner.
Can you drop your Instagram, places to follow, places to see your work?
Yeah.
Where can we find you?
100%. I'm most active on Instagram. It's just @Fablehound. If you want to see my work, you can go there. If you're interested in voiceover work, I got a lot of free resources, just, me talking about the work. And if you're a creative who's interested in business, but, doesn't really feel prepared to start, I talk a lot about that on my Instagram. You can also hit up my website, which is just www.fablehound.com. You can see a lot of my work there too, and also check out coaching options. I do some coaching as well, for actors or for anybody who's interested in voiceover work, because there's no acting, like being an actor is not a prerequisite for voiceover work. It's great if you love stories. It's great if you like to read. It's great if you're comfortable, saying things out loud. But there's really like no prerequisite for being a good voiceover actor. So I always like to encourage folks, like, it's profitable enough that everybody should give it a try.
That's good.
Yeah, totally.
I really appreciate you being so open with your story and your words of encouragement about the gym and the stories you share. Like, I hope it's motivational to other people, but it's been very motivational and inspirational to me to hear what you had to say. Again, I'm very grateful for the members of the gym and our community. It's a very special place, and I appreciate you being part of it, and
Yeah.
I see your consistency in being here, and it's awesome to be surrounded by people like you. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.